fourth time is a charm here. This is my fourth attempt to do this. I have my little device that follows me around. I'm in the kitchen, gonna do some meal prep today. The oldest is coming over this afternoon. The youngest is home, gonna do some baked pork chops, some blue cheese potato salad, a grape and strawberry fruit salad, some deviled eggs mixed with a little bit of avocado. It is my recipe. And just trying to make the holiday special for my boys. Haven't heard from my daughter. No clue what they're doing or what the grandkids are doing. I'm sure that they are busy, though, like any mom prepping for any holiday. I'm Kitryn Marie, reside in St. Louis, Missouri, artist, writer, speaker, life and a business coach. Teach a variety of art and communication classes. Bought some new dresses yesterday, and I wanted to show you these new dresses. Okay, so before I do that, I've got the girls in their crate. I have Frances in her crate, and I've got Nellie back on the back porch because she's out of control with her barking. Anybody has any advice other than I do have her shock collar on her, which I don't like to use on her because she is a good dog. She's just very reactive when it comes to people. But before I show you my dresses, I have to tell you, Friday, I finally redid my back room, got it all ready for sewing, and I'm going to start sewing some dresses because you know I'm in my dress era. And I hear my dogs barking in the yard. It was beautiful on Friday. And I go to look out, and one of the neighbors is walking in the circle behind my house. It's a turnaround from the apartment complex. And she says, "Hey, I think one of your dogs is out." I'm like, "Which one is it?" And I'm trying to take a count. And Lola and Hank, they look the same from the back. Lola's all white. Hank's all white with a brown eye. And they've got those Dalmatian kind of spots on them. They're pits, pitty mixes, boxer pits. And I'm like, "Oh, it's Hank." I said, "Don't worry, she doesn't bite. She'll be fine. If you call her, she should come to you." Well, that was the operative word, because an hour later, when my other neighbor up the block, who had given me a bunch of seeds for my yard, my good neighbor up the block around the corner, she's texting and she's like, "Kit, I think one of your dogs is here." I said, "Grab a leash and get her." Because I had been in the backfield for a good 40 minutes. And then the other neighbor who feeds the deer, she was out, and they were like coaxing her. An hour later, I finally got my dog back. And let me tell you, she acted like she was like, her feelings were hurt that she had to come home. She was so wounded all day long, but I find that very funny. I'm like, "Don't get out of the yard. We have a huge yard back there. Why? Everything is back there. Don't jump the fence." And then the crazy thing was she wanted to go into the creek, and I'm like, "Oh, no, not the creek." But anyway, so that was like Friday. But I'm glad that I got my sewing room all done. I will do another video at some point when I get all the sewing, but let me show you my dress. Let me show you my dresses. And some of these really are not my style or pattern, but I'm going to tweak some things, and I think I'll be able to do it. But, I mean, look at this. Let's see if it will follow. But look at this dress. Is this just not too cute? It's got some little puffy little sleeves, a V-neck. It's a lovely green. Lovely green. It's got a ruffle at the bottom. I went over to Plato's Closet yesterday afternoon. You know, I knew I wanted to get some dresses, and I knew they had a sale. Then I got this little plaid with a little peekaboo. Now, this typically is not my pattern or, you know, a color, but I think I want to dye it, but I don't know what color I want to dye it, but I like the style. And some of these, which I find so funny, I'm relatively I'm not a petite person, but I mean I'm a smaller person, 5 foot, I don't know, maybe 130-ish, size 8 mostly. Would love to be a size 6, but I think those days are all over. But what I find funny, now the dresses are all mediums. And this one has spaghetti straps. And this is the thinnest part of me. You can see my ribs, really, you know. But this dress, it's like tight right at the rib cage. It fits everywhere else, but it's like really tight. And I'm like, well, I got the sewing room all ready to go. I will just cut that seam and I will put a piece in there. And then we'll just kind of make it a little bigger. But I thought this is just so cute for summer to be romping around after I've worked in the garden. Like I said, I have my moving devices, you can see, and this one, sometimes it wants to work and sometimes it doesn't, and it's fully charged. The other two dresses that I got, honestly, I got this one just so I could use it as a pattern. But it's just so cute. Very simple. Again, it's tight in the rib area, so I will cut that seam and put an insert in. But I mean, it is just a simple A-line kind of dress. It's got the ruffle on the bottom. So I got that one, and it's cute. I can't tell if these are strawberries or if these are ladybugs on there, but it's just so cute, so simple, and I can use this dress, like I said, for a pattern, because I had been looking for a pattern. Remember me telling you that, and I didn't want to pay $15. I still haven't ordered it. And then this next dress, oh my God, it is so cute. It is so cute. I can see myself just like cooking and, you know, being in my dress era, and really right now it's all I'm trying to do is humor myself. But this dress, if anybody saw Hannah Harper on American Idol, you know, I don't watch TV, but I see clips all the time. She had a dress similar to this. It's got the ruffle at the bottom, very prairie style. I absolutely love this dress. It kind of reminded me of my high school graduation dress, except it was yellow, this color yellow, in this whole style. But I love it. I absolutely love it. So I got 4 dresses, Plato's Closet, for $20. So I thought I did really well yesterday. My oldest is trying to buy a house, so if you can all say a prayer. I went over and met him yesterday at his newer house that I'm hoping he will get. He put a contract on it. It's here in my neighborhood, so cross by one of the bigger restaurants over there. It's not in this neighborhood, but I'm so happy for him, and it is a beautiful little starter home for him. So fingers crossed and big prayers that they accept the contract. Everything in it is brand new. They completely redid everything. It has 2 bathrooms, full bathrooms, that are spa bathrooms. I've never seen shower heads that do all the things that these things do. It's like being in the Amazon jungle. Not that I've ever been there, but it is high dollar. The kitchen, it is a content creator's dream kitchen. It's got counter space, it's got an island, it has lighting, it has a dishwasher. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. It's got a loft where he can do his painting. And he says to me, Mom, would you buy this house? Well, needless to say, if it was just me, I didn't have a million animals, and my youngest wasn't with me. I said, Jason, this is a dream come true for you, and you need to get this house. So again, fingers crossed. Been up probably since about 6 o'clock this morning. Woke up, the house was cold. This weather back and forth in St. Louis, it is really, really just too much. I like it when it is a lot warmer. But anyway, Easter. Easter has changed. It is not the same. It probably has not been the same in about 20 some odd years. You know, where we used to get together a long, long time ago. We'd go over to my aunt and uncle's house who lived here in my area. They had a beautiful house, you know, a split level. Kids would go downstairs. They had a huge backyard. I think I have a big backyard. Their backyard was 4 times bigger than mine. And we'd have Easter egg hunts and, you know, the best ham. And normally I do a ham, but like I said, I'm doing pork chops today. Just haven't decided what kind of pork chops I want to do. And I'm peeling potatoes. I boiled them. These were just red potatoes, got from my favorite produce store in Webster, Rogers. And I leave the skin on it because there is so much nutrition in a potato skin, so many vitamins. And I'm just peeling them now. So I boil them whole and then put them in the refrigerator overnight where they're nice and cold, and then the skin just kind of slides right off. But I had said to the oldest yesterday, when I had met with him, I'm like, hey, do you want to come over? And he said, well, I'm going to church in the morning. He said, probably so. He said, I'll call you to let you know for sure, which is sometimes a crapshoot, because your kids, as they get older, they have lives of their own. You know, I mean, luckily, the youngest lives at home, so at least I know he's here. If the weather would have been nicer, I would have ran over to the cemetery to visit my dad, but like I said, it was cold this morning, and I needed to turn my heat back on, which I really didn't want to do because I'm still fighting with a $500 gas bill. It's like, you know, you piecemeal your paycheck to make sure everything is taken care of. When I went to the grocery store on Friday too, I spent $165. I have never in my life spent $165 in groceries. And I can see groceries have gone up again. And I just bought the basic. I didn't buy anything fancy that I normally don't buy, although I will say I did buy a rose bush, because Aldi's has the best rose bushes, and it's my favorite rose bush, a Sonia. It's the orange with the yellow, and I see the yellow rose bush that I planted last year, I think it was last year, it's starting to come back. I had cut it way back because it just went wild at the end of the year, but it's starting to come back. Everything is blooming way too early. My hostas are up. I have all those seedlings that I need to eventually here get into the ground. But it just got way too warm and it threw everything off. My lilac bush is blooming. My redbud trees, they all bloomed and now are turning green. My magnolia tree, it bloomed beautifully. And typically it lasts about a week. But then we got hit with, you know, almost a frost, and everything died on it. So now it's all green. But I had been working in the yard so much over the last couple of weeks, and I'm like, I'm loving it. It just makes me feel better with my hands in the dirt and, you know, tilling the ground. Homesteading, as I like to call it. I'm just kind of peeling back these potatoes. I'm going to slice them. I'm going to put them in a bowl. I'm going to mix some ranch dressing, some blue cheese crumbles, salt, pepper. I have some celery. Oh, I have to show you this too. Let me finish this here. I had bought some green onions, oh, I don't know, weeks ago. And I use the green part of it, what I like to call the chive part of it. And it still had all of the roots on it. So I used all the green part in a meal, and then I put water in a little glass, took the root part, stuck it back in water, and I have new green shoots that I can use, and I can keep cutting and using, and then I'll just keep growing it. My garlic, which, you know, I was told to plant it in fall. But look at my garlic. Let's see if I can come close. Look at these. They got little sprouts on it. I'm going to let them go maybe another week or so and then break them apart and put them in the ground and just see how I do. Why not, right? That's what it is. It's trial and error when you are planting and working on putting your homestead together. Came across all kinds of TikToks this morning about ladies and their chickens. Better than bunnies, I promise you. I could never keep a rabbit alive, sadly. So the running joke in my family was we had a beagle, and my aunt hated the beagle. And when my dad was away, she took the beagle and took it to the Humane Society. And I was sad. I mean, I love the dog. The dog was a little unruly, like most beagles are. And she got me a rabbit. I think I named it Puff and Stuff. If you know, you know. And anyway, the rabbit lasted maybe a couple months. You know, we never had rodent-type pets growing up, unlike when my older kids were little. We had, you know, guinea pigs and hamsters and so on and so forth. But anyway, later on in life, that same aunt, her son, one year for Easter, I got him a rabbit. And she about threw a fit. She goes, "How can you get him a rabbit?" And I'm like, "Well, you got me a rabbit." And then years down the line, when I had my youngest, it was Easter, and that same cousin bought my youngest a rabbit. Their rabbit, my aunt, my cousin, that rabbit lasted, its name was Chloe, lasted forever. And they lived in Lake St. Louis, and the rabbit had gotten out, and it was swimming in the lake. Who knew rabbits could swim? But anyway, so that's the story kind of with the rabbit, and I find it funny on, you know, Easter that I'm thinking of that story. But would I want a rabbit now? No, I don't want a rabbit. I don't want any rodents, really. Okay, so we're going to take these potatoes, and we're just going to, I'm going to do it like this. We're just going to kind of cube them up. But when we used to go to my aunt's house, my aunt and uncle, my Uncle Tony would always make a rabbit cake. My grandma would make a lamb cake, and the cake most likely was all put together by toothpicks by the time she was done with it, trying to keep it all together. She had cast iron molds, which I think is funny. And then they would do that really good ham. And typically I do a ham on Easter, just not this year. And I even thought about getting ham hocks and some beans and doing a 3-bean ham hock kind of dish. No, didn't want to do that either. But we would have mustacholi. My aunt would get a good spiral ham. We had the green bean casserole. My grandma would make a bianca mangiati cake along with her lamb cake. All the good fixins that come with Easter dinner. And then the kids would all do an Easter egg hunt in that huge backyard. We'd take pictures, and it was fun. That's what you do when you have family. That's what you do when you have kids. That's what you do on holidays. You get together with those that you want to be thankful for, and you're blessed that you have family and that you get to share a meal with them. And then by the end of the day, the kids would be all hyped up from the candy. I think way back, Jason and Rachel, my older kids, they came down with chicken pox one year at Easter time. Back when kids got chicken pox. Another favorite Easter story of mine, I dated this guy who lived in Perryville. Perryville's right before you get to Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And all of his family would come down from the city. He lived with his grandma in Perryville, and all the family would come down. And she would do, oh my gosh, she would do potatoes and carrots, and she baked a huge ham, and she had red-eye gravy. It was the first time ever I had red-eye gravy, and it was just, oh my God, it was fabulous. It was absolutely fabulous. And they lived in the country. Now I think the Walmart sits where that property was. But they'd all sit around and they'd tell stories and they'd laugh, and they were very religious people, and they'd talk about the Bible, and going to a Baptist church was completely different than being in a Catholic church. But I mean, I have some really, really good Easter memories. Easter is important. Okay, now I'm going to try to wash my hands. Let's see if this thing follows me, because I might end up losing it. Maybe. Maybe not. That's a lot of potatoes in here. Look at this. That's a lot of potatoes. Now we're going to take one egg, and these are, a couple of them, most of them, are eggs from my work person whose uncle lives next door to a chicken. So let's see if I can peel these. So they said the trick to boiled eggs is to boil it with baking soda. I tried it. So let's see how easy this peels. Oh, not too bad. I thought maybe too today I'd make some hot honey carrots. I had bought some rainbow carrots. Have you seen those? They're purple, they're white, they're yellow, and then you get the orange. Schnucks has them. Okay, it did, look. Baking soda. That must be the trick. But I thought I would roast some of them up. Just dice these real thin. Throw that in there. Well, what about you? What do you have going for Easter? Did you go to church this morning? Did you go to the cemetery? Did you say a prayer? Sorry for my hands and my hair. Let's do one more egg, and then I'll have enough to do deviled eggs. Well, what is your tradition on Easter? What is the one favorite Easter memory that you have? My dad had an aunt who lived in Springfield, Illinois. And this was the Easter before my mom had passed away. And we drove all the way to Springfield. My mom, me and my sister, and Aunt Thelma was her name. And she was married, I think his name was Ned, maybe. Well, anyway, he had a confectionery, made candy. And I remember pulling up to they lived in a duplex. Now, mind you, I was 6 years old. And she had this beautiful tree. And there must have been 200 colored plastic eggs hanging in that tree. And as a little kid, that was the most magical thing I think I could ever see in my entire life. And I remember that so, so vividly. I also remember my mom was not feeling real good that day. Easter probably would have been early April that year. And then sadly, my mom died that next month in May. Okay, I've got boiled eggs, I've got the potatoes, and I probably did 7 red potatoes, the small round ones. I bought them to go with a stew, but I've made so much beef stew and pork stew that I was like, I needed to kind of take a break from that. I'm going to dice up some celery because you want a little bit of crunch in that. Save those eggs for deviled eggs. You know, you can grow celery once you just cut it off, set it in a little bit of water, it will grow its sprouts, its roots, and then more celery will grow. Those potatoes that I planted last week, they were from the produce store. So I'm kind of hoping that they came from a good farmer and they're not sprayed too much with pesticide, because some of the pesticide that they are using on our produce will keep you from regrowing things. So if you are experimenting with your fruits and vegetables and things like that, if nothing grows from it, that's because it's been sprayed with a chemical. And you should be aware of that very much. That's why it's important, if you can get seeds and try to do things from, your own garden. That way you know for sure that it's not being sprayed with all of these things that are going to hurt you or harm you. Lindsay's off real good. If I had goats, my scraps of the celery would go to the goats. Goats love celery. Horses don't like celery. So what I will do, though, is I will throw it out to my possum, because I know my possum and her babies are out there, and I know she will want to eat. I threw some onions out there, and I saw they ate that. And let me tell you, if you see a possum, don't try to kill it. Possums are great for chasing off all snakes, especially the venomous ones, if you live in an area where there are a lot of snakes. They eat all the bugs. They do not carry rabies, in spite of what you have been told. It's all they want to do is protect their babies and eat, and you need them. They also eat all the grub worms that you have from your garden. And if you are putting a garden in this year, plant marigolds all the way around it. It'll keep all the rabbits and critters away. So did I mention I did my hair? I highlighted it really, really good, and I purposely did not touch the roots because I want to see exactly how much gray is there. And I do need to tone it because it is a little yellow, and it does not help that this lighting here, I hate this lighting in here. But I'm going to try to tone it to get rid of some of this yellow and see if I can get it to blend in with the gray. And we will see how well that works. Those are big chunks and celery, but I don't care because you need a crunch. My mom used to love celery. She'd fill it with peanut butter or Philadelphia cream cheese. I got one more that I'm going to do. And then really after all this, I'm going to mix some blue cheese with it, some mayonnaise, and some ranch. I'm going to get my hands in there and get it all mixed up. I figure I'll put the pork chops in the oven about 3, because it won't take any time to cook them all up. Okay, so that's what that looks like for right now. Just any of your favorite blue cheese, you just take a good handful like that, throw it in, maybe a little more. Love blue cheese. Oh my God, I love blue cheese. I'm going to take any kind of mayo. Make sure it's mayo and not Miracle Whip. There's my big spoon. Hang on. This. I'm just going to clump a bunch of mayonnaise. We go through a lot of mayonnaise. The kid loves tuna sandwiches. All right, and then you're going to take your favorite ranch dressing. it off, maybe. Maybe not. There we go. I mean, who doesn't love ranch, right? And then I'm going to get in there, and I'm actually going to mix it with my hands, but I'm not going to do it on camera. Then I have to wash my hands. We can hit it with a little sea salt. You don't want a lot of it. There's so much salt in your mayo and everything, but probably, oh, I don't know, about that much. What would that be? A good teaspoon? Whatever's left. Make sure you throw it over your shoulder for good luck. I'm not putting any garlic in here because I don't want my potato salad to be garlicky. We're going to just do about that much in the pepper. And then I'll do that. I'm going to take one of those. We're just going to slice that on down. And if you like onions, you can get a red onion or a yellow onion. I am not an onion person. I just like a little bit of a hint of onion, or you could use onion salt. But that's all I'm doing. I'm going to take that and put that back in here so she can regrow. Because that's the way we do things around here. Wash my hands one more time. But I hope today you find a blessing. I hope you take everything in what's going on in the world and what your mind is paying attention to. I hope you are cooking something really good and taking care of yourself. And you are understanding the value of what family means and having these celebratory meals. Even if it is you and your significant and a child or many children or many grandchildren or your whole family. It's important. Life is so short. You want to take in all these things as it happens. You know, it's a time to set aside any differences, any angers, any resentments. You know, roll the stone away. Jesus is risen. It is Independence Day, except it's on Easter. But y'all take care. I'm Kitryn Marie, an artist, writer, speaker, life, and a business coach. Teach a variety of art classes here in St. Louis, Missouri. Would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below, follow, subscribe, send me an email, kitrynmarie@gmail.com. Be happy, be blessed, be thankful for everything. Remember, fate turns on a dime, and it is up to you to decide what side of that coin you want to be on. Y'all take care. Enjoy the day. Say a prayer before you eat your meal. Take care. Bye.